Do my expectations get in my way for consistent self-care?
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers,
We're therapists.
and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Therapy Brothers podcast. I am here with a special guest today, and that person is not Tyler. Tyler is out today. He's doing some other work. So before I get started into this episode, I just want to remind you guys about the drawing that we have going on. So it's for our Rising Sun retreat in the end of September. And if you are willing to come on as a guest, willing to come on and share your story, ask us any questions, if we can be of any help to you in any way, between now and July 31st, if you come on, you will be entered into the drawing to come to the Rising Sun conference for free. So technically, Logan, my guest here today, is entered into he didn't know this, but he's entered into the drawing, and he can come if he wants to. So,
all right, then count me in.
So yeah, if you want to do that, go over to therapybrothers.com and you can submit a question there and just hit the button that you are willing to come on as a guest or you'd like to come on as a guest, and you're entered into the drawing. And if you're a woman thinking, well, gal, I'd like, someone I love to come, then you can come on as a guest and you can give your pass away to somebody else. So, all right, Logan, welcome.
Brannon, thank you.
Yeah. Logan is the man. So, he's my personal trainer. I work out with him once a week. He gives me, we do our weekly check-ins. He gives me guidance for my self-care. And he is so passionate about what he does, and he runs his own business. He's a businessman. He's a trainer. He knows things about my body. That sounds really weird, but that I don't know how he knows them. He'll tell me to move a certain way or tweak this or tweak that, and next thing you know, I'm in a position that's like, whoa, how do you understand that? So he is an expert. He's a pro, and I'm just really happy to have you here today, Logan.
Yeah. Well, I'm super thankful to be here as well too, and to help answer your question of how I know where and how your body moves. I was a magician, for a few years. No, I'm totally kidding. By the way, no, I'm just kidding. We could probably dive into my past if you want, and kind of how I know so much about the body and why I'm so passionate about this. But really, I just cannot be thankful. I'm so grateful to be here today. So
awesome, Logan. So you've kind of surprised me a little bit since I started working with you. I think I have some of the natural tendencies that a lot of people have around self-care, especially around nutrition. Where I'll say things like, oh, I just got to lay off the junk food, or, I just got to, I remember you asking me how many times do you want to work out this week? And I said 6. And you said, well, why don't you start with 2 or 3 or something?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, and so I come to it with kind of I don't know, so some of my psychology behind my self-care, I think, gets in the way of staying consistent long-term. And could you speak to that? Just some of the principles behind being successful long-term with your nutrition, with your workouts. What are some things that you look at, and what are some principles that are really important?
Absolutely. Okay. I love this. First of all, I think it's really important that you acknowledge that. I just want to say that real quick, because you are, you are a therapist, and a lot about the mind and how it works. And I think it's just important to know and understand that regardless of a status that you have, right? It's important to be, it's important to be, it's important to be humble enough and know and understand that to meet yourself and a reality, and to be able to acknowledge, hey, I know a lot about X, but that don't mean I know a lot about fitness and nutrition, right?
Right.
And a lot of people, they get so hung up on, I have a status and I'm this, I work as X and I should know this. But it's important to meet yourself in a reality and know and understand that, hey, my expectations and how I view exercise and nutrition might not, help me long term. Right.
Right.
And I think it's really important to start there, because if you, jump into this and you think you have this, a status that like, oh, I can work out so many days a week and I can track my food and that's going to help me, get to the end result. I mean, you'll see a lot of short-term success, but we're not going to see we're not going to see a long-term success plan. Right. So to kind of go back to what you originally asked in regards to what are some of the principles to be more consistent, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways that we could take this, right? But one of the biggest things that I've seen working with people these past 4 years is a lot of people over time, they make promises to themselves that they cannot keep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it could be super small. Like, I'm going to make my bed tomorrow.
Yep.
And you didn't make it.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to walk as soon as I get home, and you didn't do it, right? There's all these promises we make to ourselves, and some of them we do, but
Sure.
there is a lot that we don't do.
Fail.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it might not seem like a lot, but what I like to think about here is each and every single time you make a promise to yourself that you do not keep, it's a withdrawal from your piggy bank of self-confidence.
Mm.
So all these withdrawals, and I'm not a bank teller, but if you're in the red and you overdraft your piggy bank of self-confidence, now your self-confidence is extremely low.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being more consistent with fitness and nutrition, we have to start with where are your deposits and withdrawals on your self-confidence. Okay. So let's build some small wins and let's start to feel more confident. But when it comes to being able to tactically define what those wins are, that's when we need to get into the, it's not going to the gym every single day. It's not tracking your food every single day. It could be as simple as you wake up and you eat 30 grams of protein at your breakfast.
Right.
Or maybe you move for 5 minutes, right?
Right.
What are small deposits you put back in your piggy bank of self-confidence? And that's going to be the foundation, because all these withdrawals, which ultimately comes down to why people struggle to be consistent in the first place. That's one of the reasons. I mean, there's tons of reasons, but that's one of the biggest reasons I've seen, because we live in a society right now that we go online and we see a fitness influencer. You have to work out 5 days a week and track your, do all these things. And then we go out in our everyday life and we try and uphold on a reality that could not be further from the truth.
Right.
And that's a withdrawal from your piggy
until
bank
your
confidence.
confidence is just shot.
Correct.
Yeah. I just think of if I come to you and I'm like, hey, Logan, this week I'm not going to eat any sugar, like no sugar. That's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to win. No sugar. That'd probably be good for me.
Yeah.
And that way of thinking is going to just kill my self-confidence, because the next time my wife makes brownies or something and I eat one, right?
Guilt, shame. And then we can never think logically once we're in that state as well too.
Right.
Because you have guilt and shame and you're like, oh, I'm so bad. And now tomorrow what I'm going to do is just go hard and just go to the gym and just absolutely destroy my body because I made these bad decisions that from the get-go probably were not right decisions to begin with.
Right. So we got to be really careful with, I think when we talk about self-care, daily charge, like we got to be really careful with what we're setting up for ourselves to make sure that we're going to be successful. I'm the type of guy that's like, I'll go, I won't jog for like months, and I'll go for like a 1.5 mile run, and I'll be like, I'm gonna be running a marathon in a few months. Like it's coming. Like here we go.
Yeah.
And I'll run once and get one win, and then I won't jog for like another 3 weeks. And so it's like, and during that time, it's this almost underneath guilt and shame of like, you're supposed to be getting out, doing more. Um, so one thing that I've noticed, Logan, maybe you can speak to this. You talked about eating 30 grams of protein. Even things like maybe you take the stairs instead of the elevator, or like something so simple
Yeah.
and so small. But you've always been more about the positive than the negative. So like if I'm like, hey, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to deprive myself of this thing in order to be better. You're more focused on, hey, make sure you get your protein in. Make
Yeah.
sure you do the positive. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So I think it comes back to I believe it comes back to a principle that we follow in our program that I like to teach our members is add, do not subtract. And what I mean by that is let's add all the good things in your life that you currently don't have. So then that might be movement, protein,
Right.
yoga, meditation, right? Let's focus on the add and let's not try and get rid of all these different things, right? Because I'm sure people out there that are being able to tune into this right now, whenever they started a fitness journey, I'm assuming they said, okay, tomorrow I'm going to cut out carbohydrates, I'm going to cut out sugar, and they're going to do a complete flip on their diet and their lifestyle.
Right.
Right. And then that works for about 30 days. And then all of a sudden, life gets busy, the kids get sick, you don't sleep well. One bad day, it leads to 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, right? So the whole principle of add, do not subtract comes down to I'm just trying to help you develop healthy behaviors that you can fall back on whenever you need them the most. Because if you go out with if you go out with a mentality to add, do not subtract, you're going to change your mindset from these things are bad to, oh, I need this to help improve my quality of life. This is going to benefit me.
Yeah.
Let me add this in because it's going to benefit me, rather than thinking about this toxic mentality of all these different things are bad.
Yeah. I just think about, I love that, because it's just, if you add good things, good inputs, good habits, what you're doing every day, it kind of naturally will push out some of the bad stuff without forcing the bad stuff out. It just naturally does. It's like if I eat my protein in the morning, I don't want the donut as much because I'm full.
Yeah.
I ate the protein. And so now there's not a need for that other stuff, those other habits, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. And to like really drive that home as well too, there was a study by, I don't remember who, but they said if you get 1% better each day for 1 year, that will make you 37 times better by the end of year 1.
Wow.
So
wow.
Whenever we add, do not subtract, what is your 1% you add every single day? And don't make it overcomplicated. Like, seriously, sit down and think about where your life is right now. And don't try and set some crazy goal that doesn't fit with where your current life is. Like, meet yourself where you are now and let's add a 1% every single day. And if you do that for 1 year, it's going to make you 37 times better.
Let's talk. I love that. Let's talk about some specific examples. So I'm thinking of things like go to bed 3 minutes earlier. We're talking 3 minutes, right? Like,
Hey,
we're not talking an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Like, or 5 minutes earlier. Like, but what are some specifics, like things to get 1% better?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked. So to break this down, there's a category, a system that I like to have. So a good friend and a mentor of mine named Nick Ross, he came up with this thing called the 5 tasks to win the day framework.
Okay.
And I kind of took his principle, and then I kind of,
Tweaked it a little bit.
I tweaked it a little bit. Okay. So the 5 tasks, what I like to do is you have exercise, then you have a healthy behavior goal, you have nutrition, and then you add a self-development practice.
Okay.
And then the 5th one is kind of up to you, and what are you trying to improve in your life? It could be you're trying to get a promotion at work, you're trying to have a connection with you're trying to have a connection with a spouse, whatever it might be, right?
Okay.
And you kind of have that 5th one up to you, right?
Yeah.
So then you go through each category, and now not only doing one thing, but you're doing 5 things every single day.
Okay.
Okay. And make it super simple. And then what you do is you get a calendar that you see and you put on that wall. Okay. And let's say, for example, that you track your food for a week and you use like a food journal, an app, or like photos. Okay. And you see from a nutrition standpoint that you're not getting enough protein in your diet, because that's one macronutrient a lot of people miss out on. All you're going to do is shoot for 6 palms a day, right? I'm just giving out a generic example, but a palm of protein for men is about 25 grams of protein. A palm a day for a woman is about 20 grams of protein.
Okay.
So you just put like 6 palms of protein a day.
Okay.
Nutrition, right? Okay, that's number 1. Okay, second thing, exercise. Let's say that you do an audit of your life and you realize you sit at your desk all day and you don't do no movement. Okay.
Right.
So let's just set a goal, move for 10 minutes at lunch. Simple as that. Let's just start there. Okay. And then the third thing, and
when you say move for 10 minutes, like you're talking broad, right? You're like, go for a walk around the building.
Yeah.
Or,
it could be walk around the building.
like simple, like, do some push-ups, or maybe not, maybe something a lot easier. Right?
Yeah. Like it sounds silly, and it's going to be super hard for people to do. That's why I recommend to have, a support system that you can kind of fall back on to help ensure that these are not crazy ambitious goals. Because, as human beings, we are designed to strive for growth, and we want to be perfect, and we want to, but it's really important that, again, you meet yourself where you are and you build upon that. Because once the 30 days is up, we're going to add and kind of go through this category again, and we're going to add something new to each one, right?
Gotcha.
And we're just building it upon time. And then, so for example, exercise, right? And let's just kind of go through this list. That's okay with you. That helps listeners.
That's perfect. Yeah.
So we're going to add 10 minutes of movement, and you're going to walk around the building, walk around stairs. I would recommend, if you live somewhere nice, go get some sunlight in your face. It's super important for sleep, a lot of different things, and just get up and move. And then a healthy behavior goal. So there's a lot of different ways that we can approach this, but I'm just assuming a lot of people these days, they struggle with sleep because they work all day, they have kids, and then all of a sudden they get in bed and they just want to scroll on their phone because it's the only time they can actually unwind.
Relax. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. So a healthy behavior goal, I believe, would benefit a lot of people. Is let's set a goal to do a pre-sleep ritual.
Okay.
And I'm going to give the people that are listening in I'm going to give the people that are listening in the autonomy to choose what that is, but more specifically, what a pre-sleep ritual is just like whenever you wake up in the morning, you know exactly what you do whenever you wake up. You go to the bathroom, you do this thing, that thing, right?
Yeah.
But what does your nighttime routine look like?
Right.
I just go to bed and scroll on my phone.
I lay in the bed and on my phone. That's what I do.
Yeah. Right. So there's no nighttime routine. And just like whenever you wake up in the morning, your body cannot get woken up that quick. It takes you some time. And it's the same thing at night. It takes some time for your body to unwind and get ready for sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So a pre-sleep ritual is to help set your body up for a better night's rest. So ideally, in a perfect world, we're trying to strive for like 60 minutes before bed. You're like, think about all the activities that get you like in a calmer state.
Right.
It could be being able to read a book. It could be hanging out with your kids. It could be a stretching, whatever it might be, right? Think of
Right.
activities that get you in a calmer state.
Okay.
So that's the third category. We are doing a healthy behavior change. Fourth category, I recommend a spiritual practice. Now, I'm not a religious guy or anything crazy, but I do believe in a spiritual practice is super important for your health and well-being.
Right.
So for me personally, just like and for the people out there that maybe just rolled their eyes at this, it could just be you lay on the floor and do 5 minutes of deep breathing, because that's
Right.
going to allow you to get in a really relaxed state, and it's going to allow you to walk through maybe some thoughts you had in the morning that maybe weren't true, because your thoughts affect your physiology. And if you have maybe you had like a stressful morning and things are out of whack, just laying on the floor and trying to get a
But you're talking like, you don't need to be like talking directly to God, but like you're just attuning, you're getting mindful, you're getting present. That's enough in terms of spirituality.
I like to think of a spirituality, and I'm still young, so maybe I don't know, but I like to think of it.
Aren't you going to give me all the answers?
If only I knew, right? I like to think of it myself as I'm just trying to get a 36,000 view of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm trying to get perspective on things.
That's great.
And doing, 5 minutes of breathing, for some people out there, for some reason, whenever they run, that it just allows them to get more.
Yeah. It does that for me. I love it.
Which can be a toxic thing as well, which we can, dive in.
I'm interested about that.
But okay, so that is the fourth one. Okay, some sort of a spiritual practice, and then lastly, it's up to you. It could be, like I mentioned, we do like a self-development practice, or you could choose something that's going to benefit you in your personal and professional life, right? So the fourth and fifth one have a little bit of play, but those first three are super important: nutrition, exercise, and healthy behaviors. And then your fourth and fifth kind of pick and play as you choose.
So 1% better every day in those areas. I mean, could you imagine like if you just did 1% better every day, and you're 37 times better off in a year in all of those areas in your life? Like, holy cow.
You're going to be a different person.
Yeah. But the way you break that down, Logan, makes it so doable. I mean, it's very doable. We're talking about, like I said, 3 minutes of sleep more, or, walking up the stairs at work, or whatever it is, something so basic and so simple, then building on that day by day. Much different mindset than like the traditional way of thinking. It's the new year or whatever, and it's like, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm not making enough money. So we self-condemn, we beat ourselves up, and then we say, I shouldn't do this, and I should do that, and so here I go. And then we never sustain in terms of consistency and motivation. And what you're talking about, Logan, I think is a recipe psychologically to be able to be successful long term.
Yeah.
You slow it down, you keep it simple, you have deposits into your self-confidence. I think that's so important. Because if you lose that self-confidence, you lose that motivation, and it all goes away. Right?
Yeah. So just a couple of things, if I can speak on that.
Please.
So the last thing I want to say to wrap up the 5 tasks to win the day framework is get a calendar, and make sure you write down those 5 goals, okay? And put this calendar you see every single day. And so
it's right in front of you.
It's right
like
in front of you.
You're going to see it.
Like every single day you're going to see it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's either a W or an L if you did all 5 things.
Gotcha.
Nobody wants to identify as a loser. We all want to identify as a winner. So we're going to be, I guess, for lack of better words, motivated to get that W on the calendar. And then guess what? You see 30 days of W's on your calendar.
Right.
Can you just think about how much your self-confidence is going to rise, and how awesome you're
you can do it. You know you can take care of yourself. You know you can love yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
And I also just real quickly, if I can, I want to speak on I really want to speak on motivation
Okay.
because I don't know. I mean, do you feel like you struggle with motivation? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just curious.
It's interesting, Logan, because in some areas of my life, yes, I struggle, and in others, I don't. Right? Like I'm
Okay.
pretty good in some areas, and I'm like motivated to like do yard work and make my yard look nice. For some reason, I'm motivated. Like I can nail that and just get out, and it's uncomfortable sometimes or whatever, but I just do it.
Mm.
Motivated to like nutrition sometimes, like
Yeah.
I lose my motivation there, where it's like, oh man, like it's just not there. So yeah, that's how it is with me.
Can I just say some things and then tell me if I'm true or
Please.
wrong? So you love to do yard work and you're motivated to do that.
Right.
And I would assume that you've been doing that for a while, so you know how to make the grass nicer.
My whole life.
Your whole life,
Yeah.
right? And then not motivated to exercise sometimes, you said, right?
Yeah. Or be consistent with that.
Be more consistent. Sorry.
Right.
Me. Okay. And I'm just assuming that when it comes to working out and being more consistent with that, there's so many different avenues to go there, right?
I've been consistently inconsistent with my working out. Like I'll be really good, and then I'm not, and then I go back and forth in every which way, and I always have.
Yeah, and the good news is you're just, I mean, we are all the same people. Like even I struggle with that too, right? Like there's going to be weeks that we cannot go and exercise, but that doesn't mean that you're not consistent though. So excuse me, and I could be completely wrong here, but I think a lack of motivation comes down to just a couple of things.
Okay.
It comes down to analysis paralysis. There's so much information, we are confused about what to actually do.
Okay.
So as a result, throw our hands in the air. I'm not motivated to do it because I don't know what to do.
You hop on the internet and you can find anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So I think that's one thing. Now the second thing, and I think it's the biggest one, is false expectations of what people thinks it takes to be consistent.
Oh, interesting.
And that's what comes down to lack of motivation. Because just like you mentioned, there's some weeks you exercise great, and there's some weeks you don't.
Right.
But I would argue, of course it depends on what you're doing of course it depends on what you're doing during those weeks, right? But how you view being consistent with fitness and nutrition is super important.
Right.
So I think that's the second thing, false expectations. And then the third thing is just a lack of self-confidence. And you don't have confidence within yourself to, do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
Because you don't believe deep down that you can.
Right.
So I think motivation is just a surface level answer behind the actual root problem of what's going on.
It's interesting. You talk about the consistency piece, and I think of consistency as like I do it no matter what. It's going to happen. It's in my daily routine. But then when I zoom out and I look at my life, like this week, I'm spending 2 days on a RV because I'm running a Ragnar, and then the next week I'm going camping, and so like my life is changing all the time, and sometimes the kids events are really, really busy for the week. Sometimes there's not much, and so it's not realistic for me to say, hey Brannon, like your life is going to be the same every single week, and expect yourself to hit these exact same markers every single week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, and I hope people really hear you say that, because whenever you set a goal to work out 4 days in the gym, you are basically, for lack of better words, you shoot yourself in the foot.
Setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a great thing. And I'm not saying that not going to the gym and working out is great. I highly encourage people to do that. But what is your plan B? Your plan C?
Right.
Your plan D, your plan E, and your plan.
When life gets really, really busy that day, and it's like, oh, I just didn't make it to the gym.
And guess what we call that, Brannon? All or nothing thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And the most important quote that really changed my life that I heard is, all or nothing rarely gets you all. It usually gets you nothing. So instead, always something.
Ooh, I love that. That is so good because I mean, something is a win. It builds that self-confidence. You're doing your self-care. You can consistently do that.
Yeah.
When it's all or nothing, it's like I can't consistently do that. It's just inevitable that I'm going to fail. Self-confidence goes down the drain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's important whenever people hear me saying that, they're like, well, you just identified those 5 tasks, right? Well, I think whenever you make those 5 tasks, you have to be real with yourself. Is that your always something plan too, right? Like, okay,
Right.
so let's say you set a goal to move for 10 minutes at lunch, but at lunch you got so busy. Okay, you didn't fail yourself yet. Okay, at dinner or at night, right?
You got your movement in.
Yeah, you're getting your movement somewhere somehow, right? And I just, I think a lot of people would be far better off if they view fitness and excuse me, fitness and nutrition and health and well-being as a dial. Okay, like your 10 for fitness, for example, on your dial might mean you go to the gym 5 days a week.
Okay.
And a 1 on your dial might mean you do 5-minute workout at home, right? But like you can turn that dial up and down as need be. It all depends on how your life is right now.
Right. So the dial system is anything but all or nothing. It's actually flexible. It's adaptable to where your life's at that week. But you're dialing down, it doesn't mean that you're just forgetting about self-care. It means you're adjusting, right? And you're staying consistent.
You're being consistent.
Yeah.
That's the definition of being consistent when it comes to fitness and health. We have this false expectation and a reality that if we can't go to the gym all the time and we can't track our food and we can't, do all these things that what online tells us, then we're not being consistent.
Right.
But if you're working out at home for 10 minutes every single day, being consistent.
Right.
If you work out twice a week and then you move for the other 6, I mean, you're still being consistent.
Yep.
Right.
It's interesting that as you've been talking, I'm just thinking like this self-confidence piece is so key. If I'm, let's say I do something that might seem stupid, but my goal is that every day I'm gonna do something really small. Like let's say it's 2 push-ups. But that's my goal. I get my W's on my calendar and I feel confident because I'm hitting my goal of my 2 push-ups every day. Now I resonate different in the world. Like I resonate differently to my wife. I resonate differently at work because I'm stepping into who I am because I'm confident. That changes the other outcomes in my life and what I attract back into my life just because I am making it so that I am hitting my wins and being consistent at that changes everything. Right?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, back to the whole thing of getting 37 times better, that's essentially what you're doing. You're expanding your container. You are being able to level up and you're being able to reach those goals that you set out to do. And then you're actually doing it.
Right.
It's going to build confidence within you. And then all those other areas of life, of life where maybe you have like a really hard conversation. Yeah, that's a hard thing to do, but you are a confident person in who you are now. So like you feel confident enough in all these other areas of your life to where you can show up as the person you want to be.
Yeah, love it. Can I throw you a curveball, Logan, and ask you just a question? I just want to kind of see what your take is on it a little bit. When it comes to mental health, how important is physical health when it comes to your mental well-being? So things like exercise, nutrition, sleep, like, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So there's recent studies coming out that I haven't been able to read as in depth, but they're saying exercise is one of the strongest drugs for depression.
It's one of the best antidepressants.
One of the best antidepressants that there is.
Yeah.
So when it comes to exercise, sleep, health, nutrition for your mental health, let me flip it on its head for a second. Let's say you sleep 4 hours and you are running late to work because you didn't get a good night's sleep and you missed your alarm, you wake up, your kids are screaming at you, whatever it might be. So you skip breakfast, you come into work, you don't move throughout the day. You're just, kind of going through the motions. And then you come home and the wife's, there's a problem at home, whatever it might be, right?
Right.
In that perspective, I think we all can assume your mental health is going to be.
Yeah. How healthy are you going to be feeling?
Yeah. Right. Let's say maybe you slept 4 hours just because, right?
Right.
You wake up, you recognize you didn't sleep well. So just know and understand that it's going to be a longer day because you are drained.
Right.
So maybe right away, first thing you do is you do some light movement just to get your body moving, right? Maybe you, so your kid is screaming at you, be able to tackle that conversation. I'm going to, the more appropriate way. Maybe you start with sunlight in your face, a good breakfast.
Win,
right?
Yeah.
Start your day with wins.
Right.
Even though you didn't sleep well, all those wins are going to carry throughout the day.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you're going to be tired because you didn't sleep well, but you start your morning with wins, and that's just going to build that self-confidence for like the rest of the day, which I think we all can agree is going to help with your mental health.
Right. It's not rocket science. It's like, if I treat myself like shit, then I'm going to feel like shit. Right. It's like, if I only sleep 4 hours, if I eat garbage all day, if I don't feel purpose in my job, and I don't attend to my relationships, what do you know? My mental health suffers. I'm going to feel depressed. And so Tyler and I, we run this program and we get into some pretty deep stuff. We do some trauma healing stuff and some pretty cool, deep stuff. But we start the program with this daily charge, which is this self-care program. And we spend the first few weeks just outlining it and establishing it. And I tell my groups, I say to them, look, this stuff that we do, the deep stuff, that's awesome. But if you get anything out of this program that's really going to change your life, like really have a drastic effect on your life, come back to the basics of the self-care, to just the daily charge, to the, like you outlined, the 5 things, same thing.
Yeah.
Come back to that. And what do you know? You're going to have things happen in your life that are so good, physically, socially, spiritually. It's amazing. It's the best therapy, right?
Yeah.
So, the therapists here at Therapy Utah, we try to encourage them to encourage their clients to do self-care because it's so important. So
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So Logan, you're the man when it comes to self-care, and I'm just so grateful to have you here today and that you came. So where can people find you? Yeah,
that's a good question. So we don't have our website up yet, but I'm on Facebook quite frequently. So just Logan DeCamp. And if it's okay, what I'll do is, for the people that are listening in, the first like 15 to 20 people that want a free assessment, a one-on-one custom plan to kind of help, figure out their health, their nutrition, their well-being, send me a email, logan@champ-camp.com, and we'll see if we can get you taken care of. We also have a Facebook group where I go live every single week. We've been going live for like the past three years, diving into fitness, nutrition, mindset, health. That's on Facebook. The Facebook group name is Level Up for Longevity.
Awesome. And I just want to say, like, he just offered that for free, and huge value. And I'm not a salesman, I don't sell things, but like for me personally, to meet with Logan for a little bit of time and have him outline things for you, he's taught me things that I never knew, and he's helped me move forward with my self-care. So he's well worth it, and he's offering that for free. So take him up on it, like seriously. You guys, thank you for listening. If this was helpful, then feel free to share it, and have a wonderful day. We'll see you.